Welcome back. Today we are going to be getting some leads from Propstream, and we're going to be adding these leads over to Batch Skiptracing, or actually BatchLeads, where we do all of our cold SMS texting. But really, one of my favorite reasons that we do most of our Skiptracing, actually all of it over at BatchLeads, is because they have the match savings, and it's just foolish to do it anywhere else if you start doing it there, right? So I highly recommend BatchLeads for that reason alone. Of course, they have leads that you can get on their site, but I like Propstream because I'm already paying for it, and I use it for my comps, and I'm familiar with it. So today, again, I'm going to be pulling some leads from Propstream. I think today we're going to be targeting some tax delinquents. So we're going to go in and we're going to find some of those leads. We're going to get those leads, export them out, get them into BatchLeads, skip trace them, take advantage of that match savings, and then tee those up for our team to start cold texting and cold calling. Let's jump right on in. All right, here we are. We are over in Propstream, and we are going to search St. Louis, Missouri, where I live. I'm live right now. Give me a couple minutes. Yep. All right, St. Louis. It's not letting me search those different ways. Let's try it this way. Here we go. Here we go. All right, 384,000 properties here in St. Louis. Wow, that's a ton of properties, guys. That is a ton. So, what I'm going to do is I am going to, let's see here. Do I really want these North City properties in here that are tax delinquent? I probably don't. So, I think what I'm going to do is I am going to draw on my map, and we are going to do this to that 340 there. And this might be too big of an area. It may not let me go this big, guys, but we're gonna try it. Yeah, see, that's too many miles. It's actually 250 square miles right there. Wow, that's a lot. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna just try to do a smaller area. Maybe we'll have to do it twice, but that's okay, right? That's okay. So let's do, how about we just do south of the highway on the inside here. This will be basically our South County area within the inner belt, right? We have this circle highway that goes basically all the way around. This is the Missouri side, that's the Illinois side, and I'm going to be inside the inner belt, but I'm going to be south of that main Highway 40 right there. Let's see what kind of results we get from that search. When you have big areas and you draw on the map, sometimes it takes a second for the computer to process all that. Here we go, 157,819 properties. So typically whenever I'm going through to find a list, there's a couple things that I always typically do. First, I start with on market at no, and this is over in Propstream, of course, but I don't want to be marketing to properties that are listed, right? So if it's on market, I want to make that as no right away. Next, I go to my property characteristics and I put that as my residential. I'm also going to select single family and maybe some small multis. I don't really want condo or townhouse. I'm just looking for singles right now. So every time I do this and I add a filter, you're going to see it add here, but you're also going to see the number of properties on the right change because I'm actually changing the search criteria. All right. So we have our property characteristics as residential with single family and multi 2 and 4 selected. We have our on market set to no. And I do like to go over to my value and equity info. And my estimated equity percentage minimum, I'm going to put that at 30. Now watch my properties go from 130K up here at the top right to 96, okay? Typically, I also go over to Let's see here. Ownership information. And I put years of ownership at a minimum of 5. That takes me from 96,000 properties down to 76,000 properties. So that's good. We're narrowing these down here. I kind of want to look for tax delinquents, right? So where would I look to find the tax delinquents? Let's see, we have our mortgage information here. Number of mortgages, first loan. Excuse me. We have open mortgage remaining balance, first loan to current value, and then we have some boxes below, cash buyer, seller carryback, free and clear, so it's not going to be in there. Lien, bankruptcy, divorce. We have our quick target lists, so let's see if they has divorce, has active bankruptcy, has active lien. Here's our specific lien types. So I want to do, well, a tax lien would be a lien. I'm really more looking today for tax delinquents, right? So quick suppress, don't want that. A lien might not necessarily be tax delinquent, but boom, here it is. So just with the little searching, guys, I found it. Tax delinquent year. So I wonder if this is the actual year or if this is a date. So let's say that it's tax delinquent 2 years. Let's see if that is the way that it wants to be. So that brings us down to 151 properties that have the tax delinquency for more than 1 year. So that's a minimum. Where was I at? I was over here, right? Tax delinquency year. That is 2 years at a minimum on there. So let's put 1 and let's see what that does to our list. And that still brings us down to 151. So maybe that's not what we're going to find today. That takes us, man, 76,000 to tax delinquent down to 1. Wow. All right, so let's play around here. I guess I could do tax lien and just see what it does. That's 1,778. So that's probably what I'm looking for. Tax delinquent year. I guess if we wanted to do multiple years, that would be there. And a tax lien would be very similar to tax delinquency. I don't know how they define it, but I'm going to go with it for the sake of today's video, and I need leads. So not a big deal. So there's 1,778 right here. Again, here's my search: residential, single, and small multis. On market, no. I want these to be off market. I want them to be owned for at least 5 years. That does include our unknown sale date. The specific lien type is a tax lien, and the estimated equity is 30% or more. So I typically like to play around with this just real quick before I exit out or get these leads here, right? I mean, it's that simple, though. That's how I'm going to get leads, just like that, right? One thing I do sometimes, and I'm going to do it today, is I'm going to put my building square foot minimum at 700, and let's see what happens to my 1778. It takes us down to 1720, which is great. And the reason is I don't really want to be buying or looking for a little 1-bed, 1-bath. Anything under 700 square feet is just going to be a property that I'm not typically going to want, right? It makes for a kind of a crappy rental when it's that small, unless it's like a unit, but I'm looking for singles essentially. And this is actually building square feet anyway, so it's not unit square foot, it's building square foot. So again, I could take that down maybe a little bit, but I'm going to leave it right at 700. So again, guys, here is my legend. This is basically what I have pulled for the sake of this list today, right? And it's a tax lien list, which basically means they haven't paid their taxes in at least a year in order to get that lien. And we do want to have a minimum equity of 30 and own for 5 years. Let's just do one more thing before we move on, because again, I just kind of like to play with this sometimes. So if I take my estimated equity from 30 to, let's say, 50, I'm at 1,720 properties right now. Let's move that to 50, and let's see what happens over here on the right side That takes me to 1275. So that's too big of a drop. I'm going to keep that at 30, but I usually keep my minimum at 30 at all times, because if they don't have equity in it, they're probably not going to be interested in selling it to us at a discount. Therefore, we really want them to have equity in that deal. So just like that, I found 1,720 leads that I can go after that have tax liens on them, and they're in the South Inner Belt area of St. Louis, right here where I live and work and invest. So to get these leads, I'm going to click up here on Unique Properties. I'm going to add to list, and I'm actually going to create a new list, and I'm going to call this new list Tax Liens South Inner City, right? That's kind of how I'm going to define it. And I'll probably do a second one here in a second with the same thing, but I'll be up in the northern area. So this is Tax Lien South Inner City. Or I'm just going to say South. Let's just call it South City, because it basically outside of that line on the highway is really the county anyway. So Tax Lien South City. And let's throw a date on there just in case, 11/18. Tax Liens South City, and I'll copy that so I can reuse that. So I have that list being saved right now. I'm going to go pull a second list real quick, right? And then we'll come back and we'll export both of those, and we'll get those over to BatchLeads to get skip traced. All right, so now what I want to do is I wonder if I can keep my filter but change my area. Look at that. Oh, wow. Okay. So if I were to, let me exit this so I can get my zoom based a little better here. And let's say now that I want to do from here to here, whoop, to here, to here. And we're going to do that northern part, but I don't want to go in this area here just because it's typically, it just doesn't pan out for me. I'm not really a North City buyer. I don't like wasting my time, and this area up here is kind of the most dangerous part of town, so it just makes sense for me to avoid that. So again, here it's pulling that list. I don't know if my filter is going to get saved or not. It looks like it's going to get saved, so that's sweet. Saving me a little time here, but essentially I'm going to be pulling my list in, 15 minutes or less, guys. That's typically how much time it's going to take me. And I'm not always, constantly looking for new lists by any means. But when we run out of leads and business slows down, we have to start marketing. That's the business, right? That's the business that we're in. We're in the marketing business, and this is how we do our marketing, just right here. So let's let this load up. Again, it's a large area, has a lot of properties. Now look at that. I didn't even have to do anything to the filter because it saved it all already, and that's probably why it took a little extra. So there's an extra 1,614 leads. And all that criteria was actually saved. So residential, single family, and small multis, a minimum square foot of 700. I don't want it to be on market. I don't want my years of ownership to be low, like 2 or 3. I want them to have owned it for a few years. Now you could go down to maybe 3 or 4, but again, typically I just like to just kind of play it safe. Call it, 5 years. They owned it for 5 years or more. The odds of them being distressed are going to be a lot higher, a lot more likely. Specific lien type, again, this is a tax lien list that we were looking for here, or the tax delinquents. Essentially, it's the same thing. And then last but not least, our estimated equity of 30% or more. So that's perfect, guys. Look at that. I got another list right here. We're going to add to list. I'm going to create a new list. And this one, we're going to call North. Well, it's not really North City, but we're going to call this North County. But you guys get the point. 1118 Tax Liens, North County. Save. Now, we just pulled 2 lists. One for the South County, or the South City and County, and then the North County, essentially, right? So now that we have those lists saved, we are going to go over here to our properties area in Propstream. And guys, if you're not using Propstream, it's amazing. It's like $100 a month. You get 10,000 exports and you get unlimited comps and data on individual properties. I mean, really, it's the first thing I tell any of my students that they should have, assuming that they don't have MLS access. But even if they do, it makes sense to have it because of the lists that you can pull, like I'm doing right here, right? So where is my list? It's at the top here. So I have my South, county, and city. And I wonder if, no, it doesn't even matter. So here's my South city. I'm going to take this list here, select that button there, select all 1,720 of them. And I'm going to export that list. And that should just drop down here at the bottom. 1,720 properties exported. Thank you very much. And we'll put that on my desktop here. And the next one was the North County tax liens. We're going to select all, that's 1,614. So I got a little over 3,000 leads just right there. So I'm going to export those. And that's going to drop down on my desktop as well. And we're going to have two properties, or two CSVs or Excel files right here on my desktop for these lists that we were able to pull out of Propstream. Now, you can skip trace in Propstream, and you can get your number down to about 14 cents. I pay about 12 cents over at, and I don't have to do nearly as many over at BatchLeads. And also, BatchLeads has the match savings feature. It's literally like one of my favorite features of any software. So let me give you guys an example real quick. So here's BatchLeads. Again, this is, we can go to my dashboard. We can see I've got about 85,000 properties in there. It does have the ability to pull properties. I don't pay for this service, I don't believe. Or this is actually my properties, because again, there's the 85,000. But they have the ability for you to actually get your leads from them as well. But again, today, we're just going to do this as if, well, we are, in fact. I'm not making a demo necessarily. I'm just working. I'm getting leads, and I'm going to get them skip traced and get them sent over to my team to get pushed out to the marketing channels. So what we're going to do is, let's see here. We have our two lists. We have about $360 in our account already over here. So I don't know if that's going to cover it or not, but I want to import my contacts. So I'm going to do one at a time. So we're going to start with the North County one. And this is the list I got directly from Propstream. I don't need to do any rendering of my data or like any adjusting on my spreadsheet. I just need to add it, and then I need to map the fields accordingly. And there's going to be a lot of information that is going to be extra. That's great and all, but I don't really need it. So what I really need is my owner's first name and last name, which it located, which is cool. I auto found it for me. I want my mail address, my mail unit, mail address to, that's perfect. Mail city, mail state, mail zip. I don't need my mail county. And then I need my property address, unit number, city, state, and zip. And that's really it, just like that. I mean, I pulled it straight from Propstream, threw it in here. It found the right fields. I didn't even need to like really change anything. I'm going to click next, and it's going to review our order, right? So please review your order. Assuming that they get 100% hit rate and not any of those are already in our system, it's going to be $193.68. Now, skip tracing providers rarely have a 100% hit rate, let's be honest. And I'm hoping that I have some of these in my system already, which means that I'm not going to pay to skip trace them a second time. And I'm already marketing to those individuals. Why pay to do it a second time? I mean, that's a big deal, right? Like that is just foolish. It's just throwing money away. So we're going to select Start Skip Tracing. We're just going to use our wallet. Why not? Purchase the skip trace. And that's going to start. And that's doing it right now in real time. So while that's doing that, actually, I guess it doesn't matter if I need to wait or not, because there's no overlap really. So there's not any reason to wait to get these back to see if this other list I got is overlap, because I'm pretty confident there isn't any. And these are pretty small lists. So I'm going to add my second list that I just had. This is the South County and City one. I'm going to click next, and I'm just going to double check. So there's my property address, property number 2 or unit number, property city, property state, property zip. Then I have owner first name, owner last name. And then next I have the mailing address, mailing unit number, mailing city, mailing state, mailing zip. And that mailing address might be the same as the property address. But if it's not, the more data that we can give the skip tracing providers, the better, right? So we're going to go ahead and move forward with that list. It's going to probably be somewhere in that same ballpark. Estimated total of 206.40. We're going to go ahead and start the skip trace. Should I use my wallet and risk it? Because if that number goes down, 190 plus 206 is higher than 366. Let's just pay now for this and leave some money in the wallet. So I'm going to share the screen here so I can pay. Let's go ahead and purchase the skip trace. It already has our info here in the site. And boom, just like that, we are going to pay now for this one. So we're going to use our wallet for the first one. We're going to just pay directly with our debit card on file for the second one. And you can see both of these are processing right now, which is sweet. So let's give this a moment. So the first one's done already, just that quick, guys. I mean, there's no pausing. 98.88% hit rate, which is awesome. It looks like of that 1,614, 327 of those were already in my system. So 327 leads in that first list, I didn't have to pay to skip trace because I'm already marketing to them, right? I already have skip traced them. I already have that data. So, not a huge deal, but it saved me $39. And again, if you're not using a system like this that is going to save you from, prevent you from skip tracing the same lead over and over, it's kind of foolish. It's like, look down at some of these other ones. Like this one, I saved $220. This one, I saved $260 just because I already had these leads in here, guys. So I think that is really like literally one of the coolest features. So this one is still processing, but again, these happen very, very fast. So we're going to give this just another second or two. In the meantime, I'm going to go over here to campaign, and I'm going to create a new campaign. And this is going to be called Tax Liens 1118 inside. Let's see here. Tax Liens 1118. Yeah, we'll call it inside 270 because that's that highway, and we're going to know what that means. Select our market, central time. We don't have a webhook or a Podio push to at this time. We can go back and add that if we want. Can send a test email. We don't really want to do that at this point. So we're just going to create a campaign. Do you want to upload contacts now? Let's put no, because I want to just do that straight from the skip tracing area. So let's go back to the skip tracing. This one here is still processing, and that's okay. Give it another minute or two. So if we go back to the campaigns, you can see that, let's see, these are active campaigns here. And if you look at our completed campaigns, you can see that we have several pages of these here. We have a lot of these. And we can even show all entries to make it kind of easier to view. I mean, we do a lot of cold texting, guys. I mean, look, this one right here alone was 36,000 leads. So we're constantly creating campaigns and texting motivated sellers and looking for individuals that are trying to sell. So boom, look at this one. This one's also done. Just like that. We did basically, about 3,000 leads, give or take, after you take out our match savings. And we spent 152 on the first list and 190.80 on the second list. And that's actually pretty that's really cost effective. It's about 12 cents a lead. But again, I'm getting these match savings. So on the second one that we did, I only had 114 that were matches, and those match savings equaled to be $13. So $40 plus 13, that's about $53 that I just saved, guys. That's a nice steak dinner essentially, right? That I just saved by doing my skip tracing over here at BatchLeads. Again, it's not going to charge you to skip trace a lead more than once. Now, what I can do is I can actually push these to a campaign. So I'm going to push this first one I did, the lower one, and I'm going to select my campaign, and I called this one Tax Liens 1118 Inside 270, and I'm going to click Save. And if we go back to our skip tracing, you're going to see that this is pushing to that campaign. Actually, let's go back here and see if it's adding those leads. It is. So total prospects 154, and every time I refresh, that number should get bigger. Now it's at 223. So basically, you can just push your leads that way. You can also import contacts this way over here, or I think that's the only two ways. Or you can go into the campaign itself actually and add them too. So there's a couple different ways, but let's let this one finish before we add the second one, just to prevent any unforeseen issues, or maybe you don't want to overload the system here. So we're almost to 700. And you can also see it does separate out mobiles, landlines, skip trace, or the do not calls, and the import progress should update once complete, I would think. And now we're down or up to 1,000. And this one, it's probably 1,600 or 1,700. So just like that, these are getting added. And you can see it's also updating our numbers over here on the left side too, which is really cool. So let's go ahead and try this refresh again, see where it leaves us now. We're at 1,171. So let's let that finish. All right, import progress 100%. So that one is done actually. All right, now we're gonna go back to our skip trace, and we're gonna now import this top one. So we're gonna push to campaign just like we did before. Tax liens 1118 inside Highway 270, and we're gonna click save, and it's gonna take us over to here, and you're gonna now see once I refresh a second upload file right below that one. And that one's getting started as well. So we have, again, roughly, maybe 2,500 after it took out the do not calls and the ones it couldn't find, as well as the match savings, give or take. But that's a decent amount of leads, and we're going to really hit this list hard. So let's let this finish up and see kind of where our number ends. So we're at 471, so we're probably half, give or take. Upload in progress. You'll be able to upload another file after the current file is completed. So that's why I wanted to wait. Just again, I didn't want to overload it. But down here, you're going to see your statistics on batches of 100 and how many are sent, delivered, and your percentages and responses. So you do have a lot of cool data in here. The dashboards over here are really, really user friendly. And if I wanted to create a template just like that, I have all those saved in my settings. And you can see it's going to take the name and the address, and it's gonna put those in. Now I've actually changed our templates up to where it doesn't include that in every one, but some of them it does. There is our address on that one, template 3. There's our address again. So we have a whole bunch of different templates, and within each of these templates, there's like 10 or 15 templates, right? I don't know why they call it template here when you have template there, but this is just basically the text template, and then within each text template you can have multiple individual templates. So neither here nor there, but imported progress 100% complete on that second one. So if I go ahead and give her one more refresh, you can see that we have already sent 284 texts today, which is awesome. We have 2,016 remaining because we have a send limit of 2,300, depending, and that's based on your account. the package you have, as well as how many phone numbers you have in your system. I think we might have 30 or 40 over here. And then the market limit even has. Again, they do that to keep people from, screwing up the system by getting everything blocked, right? They want to slow you, they want to throttle it, but that's for a good reason. So guys, that is 30 minutes into this video. That is how we pull our lists from Propstream. You just saw me pull 2 lists. Both of them were tax liens here in my local city. I added those over to BatchLeads.io. And if you guys are not using BatchLeads.io, go to BatchLeads.io/Dave. And here's a place where you can actually get a 500 text message trial for $1. I think it's a 2-week trial. They include 500 text messages, and it's literally $1. So definitely check out BatchLeads.io, Dave. Or you can get a 7-day free trial of Propstream, and there'll be a link below this video for you to get that free trial. Highly recommend both of these products because they are game changers. I mean, the ability to run comps nationwide and do market analysis, as well as pull motivated seller leads for basically 1 cent each. Can't beat that anywhere. I mean, that's unmatched. And then the ability to skip trace those in a place that will allow you to match savings, right? It'll pull any previous skip traces that you've done in that system and prevent you from paying twice. I mean, that alone I think is massive. And again, go to BatchLeads.io /Dave, and you guys can get, a trial for $1 basically. So that's basically how we are pulling our lists and skip tracing those lists and getting those ready to cold text. One thing I will do is I'll also export those from Batch Leads, and I'm going to add them to Batch Dialer, which is a new dialer that I'm using that's also a product of Batch Services or Batch Leads. So guys, if you learned something in this video, please like it, please subscribe to the channel, and let me know. Drop a comment down below and let me know if you know what you learned, or if you have any questions or what you're doing differently. I always like listening to other people and seeing what they are doing. And again, if you learned something, hit that like button for me, guys. I appreciate it. Thanks for watching, and we'll do this again soon. Signing off.